My name is Mike Tucker. I'm the Communications Manager for Alert. We are here talking about Operation Ice Storm. In Alberta Law Enforcement Response Team investigation by our Internet Child Exploitation Unit. This morning, Staff Sergeant John Gigon, who heads the unit, will address the file and be able to speak to it. And also with us here is 3 members of our investigative team representing Calgary Police, the RCMP, and Lethbridge Regional Police Service, who make up this integrated unit. And they will be available to answer any questions and talk specifically about their roles in this investigation. So I will introduce Staff Sergeant Gigon along with his investigative team.
Good morning. My name is Staff Sergeant John Gigon of the Southern Alberta Internet Child Exploitation Unit. The ICE team is funded by the Alberta government and investigates offences involving child pornography and computer-related sexual abuse of children. And it includes voyeurism and child sex tourism. Alert has 2 ICE units, north and south. The Southern Alberta ICE team is based in Calgary and brings together the province's most sophisticated law enforcement specialists. ICE consists of members of the Calgary Police Service, the RCMP, Lethbridge Regional Police Service, Medicine Hat Police Service, as well as civilian technicians and analysts. Over the past 4 months, our agencies have worked together to undertake Operation Ice Storm. And this was a comprehensive investigation that targeted individuals sharing child sexual exploitation images and videos over peer-to-peer networks. Operation Ice Storm resulted in the arrest of 10 individuals, ranging in age from 22 to 65, and I believe you have their names and where they're from. And it resulted in 30 criminal charges and in excess of 330 seizures. 13 search warrants were executed in Calgary, Lethbridge, and in rural communities in Southern Alberta. Unfortunately, child sexual exploitation is an issue that affects all of our communities. Thousands of photos and images of child sexual exploitation videos are uploaded in Southern Alberta daily. In this investigation, we seized literally thousands of those images and videos. And unfortunately, the reality is that these arrests, this operation, is actually going to have a very minimum impact on the flow of those child sexual exploitation videos and images. What we're wanting to do with this operation is send a very strong message to those people who are inclined to search for, share, and hoard those images. The message is that we are watching. There is no anonymity for you. We are watching, and we will target you for criminal investigation. Currently, our forensic technicians are working towards analyzing all 336 of those seizures we've made, and it's very conceivable that they'll discover more offenses and possibly even more offenders, so there could be more arrests in the future. As always, our primary concern is always safety of children. We continue to work with our various partner agencies to identify victims and rescue children whenever we can. And we also strongly encourage members of the public who are aware of any kind of activity to call us. Call the police, call CyberTip. CyberTip.ca is a really good resource. Strongly encourage them to contact them. So I'm joined at the podium today by the primary investigators on this operation. From the Calgary Police Service are Detectives Dean Jacobs and Detective Justin Brooks, and from the Lethbridge Regional Police Service is Constable Rob McGregor. I'm going to open up the floor to questions now, and feel free to direct your questions directly to our investigators if you feel.
Question to anybody at the podium. Are the criminal charges primarily for distribution and accessing? Were there any other, was there any evidence of hands-on offenses or luring came up?
I'll fill that one. Right now, there is no indication that there are hands-on offenders. However, as I indicated, the forensic analysis of those devices that we seized is still undergoing, and it is conceivable that we might uncover some in the future.
Do you think, just because we need everybody at the mic, maybe each one could just take a turn? Would that be okay?
Yes.
Rather than just randomly moving around?
That sounds good to me.
They totally just want to jump in there. I can see it.
I can see it. Yeah. Any other questions? No?
How do you start an investigation like this? What kind of alerts you to what's going on?
That's an awesome question. I'll turn it over to Detective Justin Brooks, and he can answer that one.
Detective Justin Brooks, JUSTINBROOKES, and I'm with the Calgary Police Service. And sorry, could you repeat the question?
Just wondering how you start, like, what alerts you to there's a problem, there's a situation, how do you begin an investigation, and can you talk a little bit about how that evolves?
Well, as the primary investigators, the three of us up here, we're trained in certain techniques and investigative tools that we have that allow us to monitor our jurisdiction to see what images, videos are being traded. So it predominantly is the possession, accessing, and making available of those child sexual abuse images. So we've all been trained in the use of those tools, and that's how we monitor and target the offenders.
So they think they're just sharing anonymously, but it's
Anyone
not.
else? This is something you discovered on your own?
Yes, this it's proactive investigation for sure. Yeah, it wasn't anything brought by the community to us.
So they think they're just sharing between their computers and nobody knows about it, but you guys are actually able to monitor that.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that without giving away your techniques.
Well, essentially, it's just peer-to-peer networks. It's a vast network. There's millions of users on those networks. Some for legitimate purposes, a lot for nefarious purposes. So we're on there as well, just like everybody else. But we're there for the sole purpose of targeting these people that are trading, downloading, sharing these child sexual abuse images, videos.
Can you talk about the range, like the walks of life that these guys come from? The age range is quite
Really, I know there really is no stereotypical person. It's all walks of life, all ages, across all economic status. There really is no clear indicator of what type of person.
Is there anybody like in a position of trust from these things at all?
Not in this investigation, no.
What can you say about, I know the forensic examination is still going on. Is there any active pursuit of additional suspects, or is that going to depend on what the forensic analysis turns out?
Well, there's always active pursuit of additional suspects. With the training that the three of us have, with the support of our boss, we are always pursuing people on the peer-to-peer networks. And with this investigation, it's going to obviously take the completion of that analysis, whether any more charges are going to come with the offenders that we have currently, or new offenders that may come to light.
Can you guys talk about what the peer-to-peer networks are? They just, what are these guys using?
Do you jump in and talk about that one?
You comfortable?
Dean Jacobs, Detective Dean Jacobs, DEAN-JACOBS. There's numerous networks out there, but unfortunately, just with our, we don't like to say which ones we're on because we're still actively pursuing those individuals on those networks.
Aren't the news groups, like the alt news groups, the biggest problem, rather than?
In the last, in the last 6 years, I haven't really dealt with a lot of news groups. So.
They're the ones that trade those kind of files.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I haven't dealt with a lot of that in the last 6 years since I've been in the unit.
Do you find that, like, are these guys, especially the ones targeted, were they constantly active, or are these guys that go on a little bit and then not
Sorry. From watching them online, they're on from 2000, and I think it was 2011 to up to 2014. But they're not on how would I say short periods of time. They're on long periods of time.
And none of these guys, it's not like, oh, there was just one picture. Like, these guys that you targeted were chronic.
Right. They're sharing and making available lots and lots and lots of images of child sexual abuse images and video.
Can you talk about where the images originate from?
Right now, no, I can't.
Is that something, like, can you explain how you guys figure that out?
Well, once the forensic analysis is done, we'll send the images off to our friends in Ottawa at the National Child Exploitation Coordination Center, where they have a victim identification unit who would then look at those images and try to piece together evidence from a picture or a video to put it to a location.
You said that these images were not cultivated or shot here. Can you talk about where they came from, perhaps?
Right now, like I said, until the forensics are done, I'm not going to know where those images came from. All I know is that the individual had them on on their computers, and they're making it available for us to be able to download from them.
Can you talk about the consequences of these charges?
I'll leave that to the ones that goes through courts and are working with our special prosecutors. It's up to them how much time they're going to get. So I can't answer that right now.
Mandatory minimums.
Sorry. They are mandatory minimums for accessing it and possession of child pornography. So depending on what the Crown decides, they'll get more time added on to those.
Given the subject matter, content, how difficult is it to investigate something like this on a sustained basis?
It's absolutely difficult. It's very disturbing. The images and videos are disturbing when it's a young person. And when I say young person, I'm talking an infant being sexually abused. And yeah, it is difficult, but we have to do it, and that's what we signed up for. And until we get the last one, right?
What's the age range of the people that you guys were, the pictures that were being passed around this particular ice storm?
I'll pass that to Rob.
Constable Rob McGregor, MAC, GREGOR, Lethbridge Regional Police. Could you repeat your question? You're looking at the age groups?
What were the age groups of the people that were portrayed in pictures?
Some of the victims within the images that we obtained during this Project Ice Storm, from my experience, from my investigations alone, the age range were from 6 months old to just under 18 years of age, male and female.
And our Lethbridge affiliate wanted us to say, like, this is happening everywhere. It's not just in Calgary. It's happening in the smaller towns. Like, I think there was one in Future Creek.
Correct. The geographical location of where these offenses are being committed are everywhere. Within the city of Lethbridge, in your rural communities, in your major centers like Calgary and Edmonton. There's no specific location where this is prevalent. These offenses are occurring everywhere.
Is it common for Lethbridge to be working with Alert in this capacity, or was this kind of a rare instance in this case?
No, Lethbridge Regional Police currently has one member assigned to the Southern Alberta Integrated Child Exploitation Unit, which is myself. I've been here for about 3 years, and I had a predecessor before me was working as well with the ICE unit for about 3 years.
Is it becoming more common to see these large operations and large sting operations as opposed to, we hear one person being arrested, one person being charged with the way social media is nowadays? Is this starting to become more of a trend?
As far as operations go, we have been doing one investigation here. Our staff with our ICE unit now has brainstormed ideas or brainstormed these operations. This one is specifically Project Ice Storm. Within our local group, the Southern Alberta group, national projects have been going on for the last couple of years, which we are also a part of. But however, Project Ice Storm was our staff's brainchild, so to speak.
How big a role or how important are proactive investigations? I remember when ICE first started up, there wasn't that capacity. It was just basically, tips would come in and they'd be investigated. Now that you have the ability to go out and initiate proactive operations like that, how much of an advantage is it, and how much of a role does it play?
I think we have a huge advantage by doing proactive investigations. instead of being primarily reactive doing reactive enforcement, we're able to go out and seek individuals that may or may not have come to the light of the public in these proactive investigations. The online investigations, which what we're doing now, we're going after people who are possessing, making available, and accessing child pornography. And there's always a strong correlation between people who are possessing child pornography images to eventually coming on, to eventually transitioning to being hands-on offenders. So it's always good, I mean, to stop something before it can happen. And that's what we're hoping to accomplish with some of our proactive cases.
Can you say in doing all of these warrants and making the arrest, were these guys surprised that you were investigating them?
Definitely some are quite surprised when we're knocking on their door in the morning. Some are not, however. During interview, some are not surprised.
Some are, from what I've been just looking this morning, some have young children themselves. Is that concerning?
Definitely it's concerning as far as when we're releasing that person as to specific conditions that they have, so we're still protecting the public, which is our primary concern, and to not have any further people being victimized.
There is sometimes a correlation. It's not just innocent for them to be looking at these pictures. Can you talk about that?
The specific, as far as
well, like if they're looking at pictures of child pornography, is there a risk to kids that are around them?
Sure, I can jump in.
Sure. We operate under some pretty well-known research that indicates anywhere between 65 and 85% of the people who are possessing, accessing, and trading in it will either or have in the past committed hands-on offenses against children, or will in the future commit hands-on offenses against children. So that's why we're taking the proactive stance and going after people now before they actually offend against children, because it's fairly well established in research literature, and that's what we're basing our operations on.
You said earlier that these charges and these findings will have an impact on cases in Alberta, I guess, the investigation in general. How much of an impact?
Well, I wish I could say was it going to be a huge impact that was going to shut down the whole system, but no, it's going to have a low impact. Really, our goal here is to let the people know that are actually doing this kind of thing, that we're actively monitoring them, and that their chances of being investigated criminally are quite good. The reality is there's thousands of images and videos traded on a daily basis in Southern Alberta. Arresting 10 people is not going to make that huge an impact, but as long as people know that we are out there watching, I think we've accomplished something.
Was there money involved in trading these images, or was it just free for all these people to look at?
As far as I know, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, there was no monetary transactions in this. This was basically trading a video or a image with someone else because some other user happened to have a video or image that they wanted to acquire for their collection.
So the hope in this news conference here is to scare anybody else thinking of going down these lines?
Yeah, we don't like to use scare tactics, but yes, I want people who are considering it or looking at it not to do it. Simple as that. I believe for the two offenses that we're talking about is a minimum 1 year if convicted.
They have to register as sex offenders?
That really depends on the plea agreement and which offenses they're convicted of. Not always.